I'm 39. I had not been on one date in 2 years. Then I invested $10,000 into my dating coach. Shout out to Anwar White. I met my fiance a year ago. He proposed 2 months ago. And now we're getting married in 5 months. So I'm gonna finish telling you the iconic engagement story. After that, I'm gonna use this page to help you become the CEO of your love life. But first, let's talk investments. People will spend $20,000 on Dr. Miami, $100,000 on higher education, but there are some people in my comments literally cringing at the idea of investing their money and protecting their hearts and their future love lives. So I know the cost. I literally wasted 13 years of my youth on a man because I was not educated on how to date, how to choose wisely, how to pick with intention and clarity. And that comes with consequences. Having children with someone who doesn't show up, wasting years in a low vibrational relationship, letting your emotions allow you to crash out and lead you away from your purpose, being delulu about the red flag. So as a CEO of a 7-figure content studio, I'm now the CEO of my love life. And I lead my love life with wisdom. Your literal life depends on who you choose. So I encourage you to choose wisely. I'm 39. I had not been on one date.
You're now listening to a Bobby Johnson beat. Hey, my main bitch and my savage man, bitch. I get too for. Rather hold me up on each the pink. I need to go.
Tune in to Too Much Media.
Hey guys, welcome back to my channel once again, your one-stop shop for all things creative. Today I wanted to discuss the lady who spent 10,000 Ross Clot, Bomba Clot dollars on Anwar White. First things first, before I get into my opinion about her spending $10,000 on a dating coach in order to find the man of her dreams, I just want to say, like, why would you spend $10,000 on a dating coach named Anwar White? I don't know. One thing about me, this might be a weird superstition, but I don't trust anybody with the name White in their name. If there's White in your name, I don't trust you. I'm sorry. I don't care. I know, forget logic, forget all of that stuff. Sometimes you gotta just trust your intuition. At the end of the day gotta end. That's my opinion, and I'm sticking to it. What? You spent $10,000 on a man with the name White in his name? You should have known. I'm sorry, I'm fooling around too much, guys. But honestly, I do feel like this is an important topic for us here in the Creative Station because this lady who did this is a fellow creative. She is a 39-year-old Black woman who is a CEO, an owner of a content studio. And I guess she has never been on a date in the last 2 years. And she was kind of feeling stagnant in her love life, didn't know what to do, decides that she wants to invest her money into her dating life and make sure that she finds the correct man, because finding the correct partner, especially as someone who is an owner of her own business, is going to be very vital and important to the stepping stones of her future. And that is one part of what she said was a huge green flag as to why I wanted to talk about this subject. I do feel like as creatives, we do need to make sure that the people that we are allowing to enter our lives are the correct people who are going to nourish and help us flourish in our creative journeys. It is important that you are picking the right people to be your life partner as a creative person. Not only is it important to make sure that we're picking the right people and allowing the correct people to enter our space and be a part of our energy, but it is also important that we take a highlight as to the financial aspect of being a creative and where we put our money into things and how we decide to spend money. It's very important that every base of our life is touched and that we discuss these things and, help each other out on what is the best things to push us forward in succeeding and overall self-mastery. So there was a couple things that I found to be quite alarming when I heard this story on the first place. For one thing, one of the main things that she said in the beginning of like, oh, that making sure that she was finding the correct partner to nourish her journey is like, I just felt as though, do you feel like the right person who's going to help you for your journey is going to know that you spent $10,000 on them? Like, I don't know. For me, as a woman, spending $10,000 on a man just doesn't make sense. Like, what is the difference between her spending $10,000 on a dating coach and like a man, like, you know, dropping bread on a girl when he first meets her? Like, when he, like, you know, is spending money on tricking. Like, is this not deconstructed form of tricking? You know how like when you go to a restaurant and the chef is like making Asian food or African food, but they deconstruct it and turn it into a different food in order to make it a more high-end experience. I feel like spending $10,000 as a woman on a dating coach is like a deconstructed form of tricking. Why are you spending $10,000 to meet man? Like, that doesn't make sense. But one thing she did mention is that she's 39 and hadn't been on a date in 2 years. So I get that aspect of, you know, the fear of like time ticking. Like, you're 39. If you don't get married within the next like whatever amount of time, like already kids is probably a little bit out of the picture / a risky topic of like whether or not it'll be able to get done for you. So it's like a little bit like, ugh, if I don't get married now, then when? Like, who's getting married at 60, 70, 80? Like, what's the point at that point, you know? Like, we might as well just chill. But I just feel like as a creative, couldn't there have been a more, I don't know, thought out way to spend $10,000 if you do feel like investing 10,000 is a smart decision? As she was saying, like, for example, I need to be the CEO of my love life. Boo, relationships and love life is not a business. It's not like, you know, when you're falling for someone and how they treat you for the like rest of your relationship is not going to be based off the relationship aspect. Think about how many business partners are able to have a correct business relationship, but it's very like checking our T's, dotting our I's, and moving forward. There's no like personal relationship. When you go to work, you don't have a personal relationship with your coworkers. You might sometimes build one, but for the most part, what's most important when you get to work is that you guys are able to get the work done. So it's not the same thing. I feel like her comparing her personal life being her being the CEO of her relationship and her being the CEO of her business is very not corresponding. That is not the same thing. Like, that can't be compared. You spending $10,000 on like new equipment for your content studio versus you spending $10,000 on a man telling you who's the correct person for you to marry. I feel like, honestly, this is why as creative people, we also need to take account of our life and make sure that we take responsibility for making decisions in our life. What this screams to me is that she is somebody who is incapable of making decisions for herself. She needed somebody else to tell her, yes, here, no, this is how we're going to move forward. This is how we're going to move forward. You can never reach the maximum of your creative potential if you are constantly waiting for other people's opinions for how you're going to move next. This makes me question her entire like business strategy as well. It's like, aren't you quite strict and make decisions for yourself in business? Would you hire a business coach to tell you every move you make in your business? No, that doesn't make sense. It's the same thing with your love life. You're basically living out this gay man's love life for him if he were to decide to be a woman. Like, if he were to come out as a woman, these are the decisions he would make, and you're just reenacting it. You're just basically being a placebo woman for him. That's how I'm reading it. I don't know. I do feel like spending $10,000 in this scenario is not my main issue with her. I just feel like there could have been a more creative way to spend $10,000 if you feel like $10,000 is what you want to do in order to improve your love life. I feel like $10,000 could have been spent on, you know, going to more high-end places where you can meet people on your caliber. $10,000 could have been spent on therapy so you can heal your relationship with why you feel someone else is the answer to your problems. $10,000 could have been spent on upgrading your wardrobe. $10,000 could have been spent on, pouring into yourself, doing spa treatments, and just making sure that you feel as secure as possible, so that when you are in dating atmospheres, you are, coming in as confident as possible. 10,000, I feel like $10,000 spent on the opposite gender rather than on yourself is negating your own value. You're basically saying you're worth negative $10,000. Do you see what I'm trying to say? You're not worth spending $10,000. You're worth receiving $10,000 in order to date. The only way someone would date you is if somebody gave them $10,000 to date you. That is kind of, I feel like, what the message you're giving the universe is by spending this amount of money on a dating coach. That doesn't even make sense. And then what really struck me was in her speech right there of her saying yes, I'm now going to turn this page into a way to help other people find love like I did, and stop being Delulu. I'm like, what? Do you ever notice that the main people who use that term Delulu are the most Delulu people ever? It's I never heard a person who's not Delulu say Delulu at all. Ever say Delulu. One person said Delulu online as a jokey joke. And people actually are using it in real modern day conversation and talk. That doesn't make sense to me. What do you mean Delulu? You are Delulu. You are the definition of Delulu. How are you able to give someone $10,000 and you know what's funny about this whole thing happening too? I only recently saw this man, Anwar White, on my social media accounts, and it's as if the universe knew this was about to pop off and was like, let me show you this guy so you have a prerequisite understanding of who he is before all of this pops off. Because I was just like, oh my God, I literally just seen this guy recently. I just found out who he is. And now, boom, this is happening. This is really crazy. And one thing I noticed about his content when I was looking through it, because it is kind of intriguing. It's tea of oh, let me tell you which guys have the biggest, let me tell you based off which race, who spends the most money. Let me tell you, he'll make kind of generalizations about men so that he can kind of let women know what to look for in their dating life. Now, I don't agree with generalizations in that way of oh, these type of people act like this and these type of people act like this, but it is good data to kind of know what culturally is more their tendencies. It can be telling of their tendencies, of what their instincts would tell them to do, but it can't ever tell you subjectively of this is what this person is going to do because they are this, that, and the third, because somebody can make any decision in the moment based off their own intuition, based off the spirit, based off whatever is telling them to do what it is that's telling them on the day it's telling them, no matter what race, gender, or anything like that. So it's not one for all. So when I hear his advice, I do feel like it is very risque advice to listen to, as far as you need to be someone with common sense to listen to his advice. You can't be someone who just hears something and runs with it and have someone like him be giving you advice, because you are going to be led astray. You need to be someone who, with discernment, who's able to say, haha, that's funny and very interesting. I do find that a lot of people with those, characteristics do have those tendencies. Interesting that he noticed that as well, and then move on with your life. But if you're someone who's like, good, I got it now, and now I'm going to go out into the world and follow every step that Anwar said, he is someone you should not listen to at all. He is the type of advice you literally laugh a little kiki of this is something you and the girls would say to each other. Did you peep how these type of guys do this and these type of guy do that? But obviously you and your girls are just saying what you guys have experienced. Not every single guy who is in those characteristics are going to act like that. So, and you guys between each other are going to have the common sense to know that. But in this scenario, It's like I'm like, oh my God, the internet is a risky place to be giving this type of advice because people on the internet are quite dense. They are quite unrealistic when it comes to hearing other people's opinion. And all I was thinking when she was saying that he was the one she got this dating coach 10K to was his advice is quite like everything I feel like he has to give is already given. Like if you look through his content, he has a very large background of content. Like he has a very big discography. I'm like, if you watch all of his videos and just binge them, sit here and just watch every single video he has, and it's a lot of videos, bro. No one has time to watch all this. It's like, I feel like you could get what you're spending $10,000 on. And this is the main reason why I wanted to bring up this subject today for all you fellow creatives who are out there watching this is like, we need to be financially intelligent. When you are a creative person, the whole reason that you go the creative route of how you of how you make your money is in order to feed into yourself. Spending money unnecessarily and unwisely is very risky for us creatives because our money income, like how our income gets to us is very decided on what society finds interesting and valuable. So it's like if whatever you find as your creative passion, society no longer finds as valuable. Like what if tomorrow, because of the internet fluctuation, nobody bought physical copies of paintings? Like nobody enjoyed buying paintings where someone used actual paint and paper. Your now creative passion maybe of being a painter would become creatively what's the word I'm looking for? Like it wouldn't be a means that is very possible for you to make an income off of, right? So our creative journey of what we find passionate about in order to get income is very dependent on what society finds valuable. Therefore, when we're making money, we need to be extremely calm and decided about how we spend it. You never know when everything is going to change and people don't find your creative passion as valuable anymore, and you no longer have a constant influx of 10K coming into your account like it's nothing. Like, she says she owns a content studio. I'm like, what if tomorrow the government decides to shut down TikTok like they did a couple months ago, and now content studios are not something anyone ever spends money on? Whatever amount of money you've made on content studio is what you're gonna have to live off of. Not wishing that on her or anything, or on anybody, or saying that scarcity type mindset is how you should be thinking constantly, but it is something as a creative to be aware of the duality of those things. Of like, don't think overly scarcity where you're always worried about whether or not you'll continue making money off your creative passion, but also be aware of not haphazardly deciding how to spend money. $10,000 is a lot of money that could last you quite a bit of time if you were in financial hardship and had to make it stretch. You should not be spending it on one person to get you in a relationship that you could have kind of gotten those advice for free. Being able to, as a creative, find smart ways to get around spending money is kind of one of your best attributes of why we consider ourselves creative, is that we can find ways around problems that don't involve financially spending money. I feel like there are so many smarter ways, and she's clearly an intelligent and resourceful woman that she could have thought of in order to find the man of her dreams, besides spending $10,000 on a man who has a large discography advice that when you're stuck, you could just go and watch. Why would you give him $10,000 for advice he gives for free? This is free advice you are spending money on. Is that creatively smart? To be spending money on something that is technically free? That's like going to McDonald's and only getting items off the dollar menu, but saying, no, but I want to give you full price. Why? It's on the dollar menu. Just pay $1. Why would you spend more money? Because you just want to say you spent more money? I feel like this lady is like, I don't know, that word she used is perfect, delulu. Like, and then after that, she said after a year, they got engaged, and now in 5 months they're gonna get married. What is my opinion on that? I feel like a year is not a bad time to realize you want to marry someone. I feel like a year is a good amount of time. And 5 months marriage, all of those things were kind of realistic. I mean, I really do hope the best for this lady and I hope everything works out. But I did want to warn us as creatives, like, please be smart with your money and, try to think of ways out of spending money versus ways into spending money. I feel like she was so quick to do that. I mean, she is 39. The clock is ticking. But at the end of the day, like, now I do feel like her husband is always going to think in his head, like, you spent $10,000 to meet me, girl. Like, anytime, like, I would clock that. Like, anytime you try me, it's just like, girl, you spent $10,000 for this marriage. I know you ain't going nowhere. Like, I'll do whatever I want at that point. Horrible way to think. Horrible. I really, really don't wish that on her, but it's just like, sis, what? This not making sense. Why would you spend 10,000 Bumba Clot Ross Clot dollars? That doesn't make any sense. Oh my God. I don't want to overdo this topic. I feel like I'm kind of losing my train of thought and I am quite tired. But if you guys have any thoughts on this, what are some creative solutions that she could have used besides spending $10,000 in order to find a husband? Because also another thing is he didn't even match her. I feel like $10,000 if she had spent it on a matchmaker, like someone who literally you don't have to do any work, you could completely, like, I understand as a creative, if you're so passionate about your work and you're so into what you're doing that you never spend time looking for a match or looking for a partner because you're so into your creative journey that you don't have the time needed to spend looking for partners, I would be like, okay, $10,000 on a matchmaker so that you could focus on your creative endeavors and not, pull away your time from that and just be able to get matched with men consistently without having to do any work. You just are like, okay, this is the time I have that is free. Whenever, whoever schedule men into these time frames that I'm free, and I will go to those dates and see what happens and use it like that. I would be like, that actually makes sense because you're creative. You don't have time. This is what your passion is, but you also understand that you do need a partner to help you flourish in your journey as a fully formed human being and self-master yourself. I completely would have understand that. But she still had to go on dating apps all by herself, look for the men all by herself. All he did was kind of nudge her forward and tell her yes or no to the men she already was finding. I'm like, so you also were spending $10,000 to spend your own time. So you're spending $10,000 of your time, $10,000 for free advice. There was nothing within her $10,000 that she was getting that she couldn't have also gotten for free. At least if she was getting something that she couldn't have gotten for free, that would have made sense. So it's just like, we need to be smart here, everybody. I don't know. Comment down below if you feel like it about, what do you think that spending $10,000 on a dating coach is an investment and that being the CEO of your love life makes sense? And, or if you don't, how would you have spent the $10,000? Like, if I gave you $10,000 right now, what would you do with it? Because I know I am not giving it to nobody with the name White in their name. Anyway, guys, please make sure to engage with my channel, like, comment, subscribe, do something. I don't care which one you do, but it just allows my YouTube channel to be also, pushed to other creative people who are looking for a community, for a place to talk about things and dive deep into subjects. So see you guys on the next video.
Attempting to get my attention. I don't like when you're acting too tempted. Relax, you don't need to be mentioned. You could be sent back at the entrance. I can tell you never seen a temptress. So cold, I decide what the temp is. I like when you talk cause you meant it. If I picked, I'm the one that I went with.